Chapter 5 of the book, Floods Upon Dry Ground, written by pastors Bobby Duncan and James Jones, is titled Praying for a Nation. The last time in chapter 4, entitled Crumbling Foundations, reminded us that amid crumbling foundations around us, God remains in complete control over his creation. So now, in chapter 5, Praying for a Nation, Duncan and Jones wrote that we are right in praying, God bless America, but perhaps God is saying to his church, I have placed you there to bless America. They then wrote the most pressing prayer need in the church is to pray for revival within its own ranks, because the way God blesses a nation is through his people. They indicated liberalism, socialism, and communism are not the main problem with America. Even radical professors in our colleges are also not the main problem. It is rather a Christian movement that has lost its biblical integrity. They cited researcher George Barna, who in a poll reported 41% of evangelicals and 77% of Catholics do not believe someone has to have a personal relationship with Jesus to go to heaven. They said that many evangelical leaders now see Jesus as an optional way to God, but not the only way. By this we know a shaking is near. They wrote, America needs a Bible-believing church and Bible-practicing church to show it the way. The authors liken today's churches to what Isaiah said to the Israelites in Isaiah 1:13 and 14, and I'll also include verse 15. Stop bringing useless offerings. Your incense is detestable to me. New moons and Sabbaths and the calling of solemn assemblies. I cannot stand iniquity with a festival. I hate your new moons and prescribed festivals. They have become a burden to me. I'm tired of putting up with them. When you spread out your hands in prayer, I will refuse to look at you. Even if you offer countless prayers, I will not listen. Your hands are covered with blood. Pretty stern words. They wrote that church rituals become hollow expressions of piety without, number one, a deep devotion to the Creator, and number two, a sincere pursuit of true holiness. Duncan and Jones described many churches today as being institutional, consumer-driven, and narcissistic. They said to depend on these churches, it's like a drowning person throwing a life rope to another drowning person. Ultimately, both will be lost. They said our hope doesn't rest in Republicans, Democrats, independents, socialists, capitalists, or even religious leaders, however spiritual they might be. And that sustained favorability in society is not what leads to a genuine spiritual awakening. As English Baptist minister Edward Mote wrote in 1834, on Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. The authors wrote that our hope rests only in Jesus Christ. What might disappoint many Christians in America is that the church is aroused when persecution comes. Many Christians, however, dispute that fact. Bobby Duncan told the story of some ministers slipping into a Middle Eastern country to support former Taliban and Al-Qaeda members in their switch to the Christian faith. These men remained steadfast in their faith in Jesus, even though most now faced death sentences in a Muslim country. Bobby Duncan wrote, increased persecution along with spiritual drought and coldness are elements that often prompt people to turn to God in fervent prayer and mourning over personal and national sins. The bottom line is that the natural desire of our church is for our nation to be blessed. But may we understand that more important is the statement, God revive your church. Only then can God bless America.